Hey guys, welcome on to this week's episode here of Between the Posts. We're back coming off the international break and we're excited to jump on into Matchweek, number 5 in the Premier League. He's, of course, Matt, and I'm Jason. Ready to get after it. What's going on there, Matt?
Yeah. First little section of the season done. International break. Some teams were hot, some teams were cold going into it, and it's always kind of tough to gauge how they'll come out. And the Champions League starting up soon, so yeah. But I'm really excited to just get back after it.
Yeah, my weekends aren't the same without being able to throw on the Premier League and watch them as I ease into the Saturday and Sunday morning. So I'm ready. And now we're, what, they call this the meat of the season because obviously we get Champions League and Europa League and all the other European competitions. Now they start to kick in with their group stage. So fun times right here in soccer. So look forward to talking about it. Let's jump right on to the Premier League, Matt. Let's do it, man. Let's kick it off. Your boys are in town, and you sent me your bets ahead of time, as you always do. And I wasn't surprised to see you on this because I remember you played this angle last season. You always love a good Wolves team up against your Liverpool. What's going on this Saturday at 6:30 in the morning, Matt?
I just think coming off the break, you got to go on the road. I think there's some players missing, some key absentees that I would want if I were to back Liverpool. I'm shocked that they're priced, I guess, all the way here at like this minus 240, 250 range. I think that's a little bit high for something on the road. Um,
You mentioned
like
guys
the
are out, though. Nothing's out from an offensive standpoint. Obviously, no Virgil. He's going to pick up an extra game suspension. Maybe Trent doesn't play. That's to be determined.
yeah,
You're no, Trent's not going to give it a
Andy
go.
Robertson. Yeah, Andy Robertson will captain the side. Kanate will most likely be ready, I would think. And then just checking Wolves. Not too much trouble here with Wolves absentees. I believe. Um,
Hmm.
they did have that transfer. Uh, what was the guy's name to City? Really good player.
Oh, Neves. Or no,
Neves. No,
Nunez.
not
No, Nunez. Nunez. Sorry,
Neves.
Nunez.
That's a good loss for them for sure. Um, but you got to go through this head-to-head fixture too. The last like 6 times that these two teams have played. Let's see, one, two. So the last 8 times that these two teams have faced off, if you were to take the Wolves plus 1.5, which is my play here, I mean, you would have hit that in 6 of 8.
Hmm.
They've won outright once. They haven't been beat by a margin in this fixture. The last time that these two teams did meet, that was at home at Anfield. This is different. Um, yeah, every time pretty much that Liverpool have gone on the road here to the Molineux, Wolves have covered the spread. And I think that with the no Virgil, no Trent, I think it's worthy here. I think it's worthy. I think it's going to be a tougher game. Yes, there's always the ability for Liverpool's offense to explode on anyone, and maybe that happens here. But I think that I would rather be on the other side.
For the reasons you've mentioned, is the reason why I wouldn't want to maybe back Liverpool to walk away with this one with the 3 points. They do have some defensive issues, with Virgil and Kanate. Trent, even though he does slide up obviously in that midfield role, but their offense is still extremely clicking. They've had some nice XG numbers, 1.94 XGs up against Aston Villa last time out. Obviously 2.64 up against Bournemouth, and you would expect something like that. But it was the one outing at St. James Park when they go down 10 men that you think this is not going to get a result. You're not going to be at 10 men at St. James Park and be able to walk away with this thing with 3 points. And they were able to do that. And they were looking that second half like the better side with playing with 10 men. That gives me encouragement. Their offensive firepowers are still there. They have the subs that they didn't have last season to throw on. I like a Liverpool team total, and that'll be kind of how I'll play this one with trying to avoid any kind of result because you've mentioned the Molyneux is a tough place. We talk about Wolves. We talk about how the goals per game is usually low, and they're usually always in the bottom 5. It is tough. And they've played this one tough. And they've had a lot of head-to-heads last season because they hooked up in the FA Cup over 2 legs as well. So they played 4 times last year. 3 of the 5 times The last head-to-head, Liverpool's been able to score at least 2 goals. I like their firepower, and their defensive issues make me like their firepower even a little bit more because maybe the Wolves can sneak in a goal, and now if Liverpool's going to win it, now they've got to go get 2 or maybe even 3. So I like Liverpool's team total here. I think the strength of the offense is more than enough up against this Wolves team to carry them to 2+ goals at the Molyneux. All right, Matt, let's carry it on. What about Villa, Crystal Palace? Villa going to bounce back? I think we were both a little disappointed that they didn't compete better against Liverpool and maybe even find the back of the net what we thought pre-match maybe going into it. And that obviously didn't unfold. And then you've got pesky Palace. What are you looking for here?
It's a, this is a tough fixture for sure. Not something I probably will get involved with. I think that this is one of those that you would really. I don't think the line's going to move a ton. I think it's just going to sit here for the most part. I would be waiting for lineups in a situation like this. You're getting Villa. I lean Villa, but I know that Palace defense is solid. So it's kind of a clash of a really nice Villa offense versus a really solid Palace defense. So what really shines here? You would like to think the team at home. Um, there is some nice trends. But yeah, nice trends really for both teams. Villa have managed to win 9 consecutive at home in all comps. They're on fire here. They're on fire.
Yeah.
So I like that angle. But then on the flip side, Palace have not been beaten in 7 of their last 8 in all comps. So Palace is a tough team to beat. You could definitely say that. Villa's tough here at home. I would lean to Villa. I would think that their offensive firepower should be able to push them. Um, yeah, tough head to head too. Kind of both teams have gotten the better of one another. Last year they split. The year before Villa got 4 points out of it. It's tough. Looking at the injuries, let me look at the injuries while you kind of talk about it because this is not not the easiest match for sure.
Maybe not the easiest match just because Palace can be pesky, but I love everything about Villa in this spot. Playing at home, coming off a long international break. Palace just doesn't have much. Their XG so far in their first 4 games hasn't been anything sexy. We've only seen Villa play one time this season at home, and it was a 4-0 win up against struggling an Everton side. But their XG numbers in their games have still been pretty good. Their XG at home at 1.68. Obviously, they were able to get 4 goals again against Everton. I like Villa here, and I have a hard time seeing where Palace is going to be able to keep up from an offensive standpoint. I think both teams to score can certainly hit. I like the over 2.5 as well. I like Villa here. This sounds like a spot where Villa's had this resurgence under Unai Emery, and a lot of it has come with their home form. I don't see them getting tripped up earlier on this campaign by Crystal Palace at all. I like their team total over 1.5, which is basically even money. And I do expect them, even though they didn't hit it the last 2 times last season, it was hitting in the campaign before last season. I think they get back to that ways. They find the back of the net multiple times. All their offensive players, I love Digne. They got one of the better fullbacks from an attacking standpoint. I love him. Villa, to me, at home, I think they're going to get it done and maybe even cover the margin. But I do like the both teams to score as well.
Yeah, so just looking at the injuries and stuff like that, this is a key one. This is a perfect example of why I would wait to bet this one. And I think that you make some good points here on Villa. Mark Guehi was playing for England in the international break. We know that he's very good. He's a very good center half. He's the reason that Palace are so pesky. Basically, he is he's the best center half on this team. He's one of the best defenders in the league here. Felt something at halftime. Hope it's not too bad. He wasn't able to carry on. I would expect him not to play here. Then you look at Michael Elise. He's still not ready. That's kind of one of that's their best attacking player for Palace. He's not ready. And Villa, they did a good job in the summer window to patch up the gaps, with Mings going down. They brought in the center half from
Did they bring anyone from
wherever.
Villarreal? Did they bring in Pau Torres? Yeah.
Yeah, Pau Torres to stop that gap. And here's the other thing too is I just don't think that Palace's offense is good at all. I've watched them now a couple times this early in this year, and their offense is really shitty. I wouldn't even go team total here, Jason. I would play Villa on the money line with no Guehi because I don't know that Palace will score. But I guess with no Guehi as well, like maybe then you would kind of lean towards team total.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I think that the stars are aligning for maybe Villa to be a play.
Yeah, I'm going to do the team total. I've kind of talked about it before. If you make a bet in baseball, right, Yankees versus Red Sox tonight, you have a 50% chance of winning the game just on the probability before you add in stats and what have you. I just don't have that in soccer, right? Because there's that draw element. So you're losing 17% of your win probability because you're now down to 33%. So I'm going to stick to the team total angle. But yeah, I mean, Villa should be getting the job done here. I'm showing 75% doubt for Mark Guehi. So it's looking like he's not going to play in this game. So yeah, run that team total up, ladder it. It's all Villa. It's going to be Villa early and often in this game. So I love them right there. All right, we got another game here where Adrian apparently he likes Fulham on the money line. Hard not to against Luton Town. Luton Town is awful. We've now been, I don't want to say privileged. What's the word I'm looking for? I'm not sure. We've had the unfortunate of seeing Luton Town on consecutive Fridays. Remember they played West Ham and they played Chelsea? They are awful, and Luton has destroyed, Fulham has destroyed them. 7 goals last time. They've got 3 before the time that. They are destroying Luton Town every time they hook up. Fulham is in the Premier League. They're an established Premier League team. I like Fulham. I'm with Adrian. Fulham gets it done here at home. Even though they've lost some of their firepower in the transfer window, they didn't do a good job, I thought, at replacing it. It's still them at home up against an opponent that they know very well and have dominated. I love everything about Fulham.
This is the perfect get right spot for Fulham. Yeah, the price sucks. Like it's you're gonna have to, but you have to bet it. I think that it's like one of those where you're not getting a good line. The books know that Luton is awful.
Awful.
Like
Awful.
you mentioned, last head to head was
7-0.
was that in May? I never know how this website does it. Like it was either February or May when they played. It was, but yeah, 7-0. That's something that we can kind of put together and use. That was 2 years ago now though, right?
That was in 20.
Fulham
That
and
was in May of 22.
May of 22. Yeah. Well, either way, it just doesn't matter because
It doesn't matter. Luton's been so goddamn bad.
yeah, Luton's been so bad. You have to play it. I think that like the price isn't great. Like I wouldn't hate anybody going minus 3/4, -1 on Fulham here if you want to get the price down. But yeah, I'm just gonna play Fulham on the money line. There's really not a lot to say here other than just keep fading Luton until further notice. Maybe they get themselves together after the international break. I don't think a lot of their players are international players, so they've all stayed
They've all been
in
sitting around
Luton.
chilling.
Maybe they've been drilled down here and can come up with a decent defensive game plan. But I got to just keep going with this one because they just keep shipping goals.
Hey, remember, this was a Fulham team that scored against Manchester City last time out, had a 1.3 XG against City. People don't rack up an XG up against City mid 1, which is, call it what they were, 1.37. And also, terrible non-offsides call there just before halftime. Fulham's in that game against City. More than in that game, they get robbed of a shitty goal just the stroke of halftime when Akanji makes a play at the ball to throw off Leno. Like, that's got to be offsides. That's another conversation. But Liverpool is full on in that game at the Etihad, and they're not going to put 2+ past Luton Town. Are you kidding me? This is another 7-0 smash spot. They're not going to hit 7 goals. That was obviously a rare day, and you don't get those very often. But this is an absolute smash spot. Run the margin, run the team total, whatever you want to do. I could care less because it's all going to hit. So just get those bets in. All right, let's hop over to Man United, which the laughingstock of the Premier League has. They've sent out more club statements, and they've got victories earlier on in this campaign. They're going to welcome Brighton into town, which is awfully goddamn scary that you're going to come see Brighton. Both teams scoring over 2.5. Comes in at over -200 because that is how great of a play it is. I mean, both of these teams are finding the back of the net. Put to the side what happened in the FA Cup when that was a boring 0-0 game and United wins. You know how cup finals are, and that was at Wembley. That's got to be completely thrown out the window. Otherwise, you're getting goals in this fixture, and that is what I want to keep backing. But I think both teams could score because Brighton's awfully impressive with their press. Man United's garbage, and if they want to end another game with Johnny Evans and Harry Maguire as their partnership, Championship, and Brighton can steal all 3 points. And Ten Hag needs to stop messing around late in these games and trotting these guys out. I know there's been injury concerns with Varane and what have you, but you can't be relying on these guys. So this is a both team to score over 2.5 for me. I don't care who wins. I would lean Brighton, to be quite honest. United's such a mess.
I mean, this is like what's going on at United. It's a real freaking joke, man. It's awful. Um,
Yeah.
will Amrabat make his return? Will
He picked up an injury
Mason
on international duty.
Anthony out due to the disciplinary matter? Now Jadon Sancho looks like he's not going to be on the roster, and he sucks. I mean, Sancho sucks. He hasn't done anything really. I think that his biggest goal was against Liverpool when he shook Virgil last year on that one. But he's not great. I mean, I don't know what you think about Jadon Sancho, but he's just never really impressed me.
Yeah, not a United kit. I saw a predicted lineup that had the midfield pairing of obviously Casemiro, Amrabat, and Eriksson with Bruno pushed out wide. If that's the lineup, you can smash Brighton on the money line for everything that you've got, because every time either Bruno doesn't play or they do something stupid with his position, they have no creativity. So maybe it may shore up the defensive side by having Amrabat playing next to Casemiro, but they won't get anything out of the offense. Højlund, he will make his full debut in front of the Old Trafford crowd, so maybe you look for him to score on his full debut. Again, this is goals, and this is both teams contributing to an over.
They should play Højlund up top. They should play Rashford on the left. They should move Garnacho to the right. I would start Garnacho. I'm still a big fan of him.
The only
And
problem
then
is
play
he gets like
Casemiro.
no game time on the right. It's Palistri should come on into the right hand side. He plays on the right for Uruguay. He plays on the right, obviously, for the club. Like, he should just come on up, give him a run.
Yeah, who's going to start in defense? I guess no Varane.
Let me look. Let me look at this website. I believe he is still out with his injury. They've got Lindelof, Martinez, Dalot, and Wan-Bissaka, because obviously Shaw and Varane are out. So I mean, he's playing with what he's got. I mean, he ain't got much better than that. And that is the squad.
Yeah, I'm seeing Martinez as 50-50 to go. Brighton. In CISO, that was kind of before the break. That sucks. But yeah, Evan Ferguson isn't probably going to start.
That's big. That's big.
Right.
He's nice. He's going to be snatched up this summer for a lot of millions.
Yeah, I think I don't know. Something tells me, Jason, like I watched both of those. Watched the FA Cup and then the Premier League match right after it. I don't know. I would be on the under here, and I can't tell you why. I would be on the opposite side here, but I'm not enough to bet it. So I mean, that's just a pass game.
Just a pass game for you. All right, I know you're not passing on Tottenham right now. All Tottenham is doing is scoring goals, looking awfully damn good, and keeping a little bit of a clean sheet is what Tottenham's doing. Adrian said there in the chat he likes Fulham Spurs money line. I'm unsure of what price he got, but it's certainly a play I get. Tottenham's not losing at home to Sheffield United. Son, boy, he starts scoring. If they can get Richarlison to maybe kind of start kicking in, he's talked about maybe some off the field issues, maybe being over with, and maybe he could start get his form back. I love everything about Spurs here in this matchup as well. You get some good matchups this week. Some teams that should handle business, and Spurs is definitely one of them, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, there's nobody has more players on like the injury list right now than Sheffield. Sheffield has 11 players. United are close with 10. Yeah, there's a lot of concerns here for some of their guys. And yeah, Spurs are flying right now. I like that 2-team parlay. I think that you'll get that at probably plus 100-ish, I would think. It's like a minus 148 and a minus 350. So somewhere pretty close to even money on that.
I mean, Sheffield can't hang with Spurs, right? There's no way they're hanging. No way.
I don't think so. I mean, Spurs get the job. I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out how to play it. I just think that Spurs win. So I think that Spurs are very safe this week in a parlay.
Yeah, they're one of the safer plays. I mean, you will go through the card. I think Adrian's exactly right with two of them, and there's a couple more that maybe you could add in there as well. So This is they will win by a margin. Will Spurs? They're going to win it. And plucking some. I know you guys love making parlays of anytime goal scores, but this is one where you can have some fun with. The guys are finding the back of the net here against Sheffield. So like that. What about a matchup coming up at the next one here? It's battle of top four teams. West Ham in fourth place, Manchester City in first place. Matt, where do you think it here between the Hammers and the Citizens?
Yeah, I think that Man City will take care of business. I think it's not an easy spot, but I think that City will take care of business here, and I really like City in under 4.5, just because I don't love City -1 here. I think it will be close. I think that West Ham can get after them, but look at the head to heads here. I mean,
Yeah.
last year 3-0, 2-0, so both of those bets would have cashed here. It stayed under 4.5 goals in every match since 2019,
Yeah.
and Man City have gotten the better of them in most of those. So yeah, as long as City can just get the job done here, I think this match stays under, and I can find that at a -120 price. I think that that's fair.
The under will always come down to, and the under obviously lost last week against Fulham. Just will come down to how clinical they are. I mean, West Ham doesn't do much against City. Their XG is 0.39 last season up against Manchester City. They're just not gonna. They're not gonna struggle them. They don't have anybody else on pace. They don't have anybody that's super flashy and super pacey to really give them any problems. Their front line of Bowen and Antonio. It's not scaring anything that City can put at them from a center back and a defensive position. So yeah, West Ham's going to continue to struggle. Don't even think they'll find the back of the net. How many goals will be scored will be depending on how clinical Haaland is and the other guys, and maybe depending on where Foden will play, how much of a playmaker he can be in this one. This one's definitely easy. City will cruise to a win. I'm thinking along the 3-0, 4-0 margin is where I'm at here for a City victory. West Ham just hasn't been
Really,
able to.
I think that West Ham will hang better than that. I think that West Ham are pretty good. I think that their lineup is going to be pretty solid. They're all healthy, but I just still think the quality shines out, and then their ability to control matches. But I think it'll be close. I really do. I think that this match will be close. I think this is kind of a squeaks by for City, but they're just too good. But I kind of hope my bet loses in a way. Like I don't really. I'm, I'm
You
sick
what,
of
what for
Man
the title
City.
race? For the title race?
Oh yeah, I think that there's some teams in this thing. I think that Liverpool and Arsenal are both really in it.
Yeah, no, yeah. I assume that's what you meant for the title race. I just wanted to clear.
Mhm.
I don't know what
Oh yeah,
day the City play Tuesday or Wednesday in Champions League. Not that that's awfully going to matter, but they're going to give it a go here. But in theory, West Ham's got some action on Thursday because they should be in Europa Conference League or Europa League. Sorry, Europa League. So
yeah. I don't know, but again, like no De Bruyne, and I think that City are always they're human when they don't have him. They're unplayable when De Bruyne is fully fit. They can be got at, but they haven't yet this season. But like look at this. I mean, Kovacic, it doesn't look like he's going to go. MRI scan on
yeah,
his lower back. Grealish isn't going to be ready. Stones might go, but yeah. So I mean, yeah, there's some little concerns there. I don't know. I think that West Ham are gonna. I think it's gonna be really close. I
so
think
you
it's
like
gonna be
them
really
both
close.
teams to score? I mean, I know you're on the under. Are you thinking West Ham's going to find the back of the net here to keep it close, or City's just not going to be as clinical and kind of like how it happens
I
some
think that
weeks?
City will. I think that West Ham's defense, when you look at their center halves of Zuma and what's the other guy's name, like Awar or something like that. He's a good player. Um, they've got Sufal. It looks like he's going to go. They've got players to be able to keep this thing tight. I like the under. I like the under.
You like the under? All right, you like the under. I mean, obviously the teased under. You don't like the actual real under. It's just to clarify there for the viewing audience who's
Well, if I
scrambling.
yeah, if I were to bet it, I would bet the under. If somebody made me take over or under 2.5, I would take the under.
You would take the under. Okay,
Or like
all right.
three.
I'll be curious to see if you're going to be taking an under in this matchup where you got Newcastle taking on Brentford. This one could have goals early. These are two of the teams that, if you look at the first half table, rank right up there. Both of them are in the top 7 of goals. Brentford has scored in every first half so far in their 4 games. I'm definitely expecting goals in this one. I do give the edge to Newcastle to maybe find the result here at St. James Park. But I'm expecting goals. I'm expecting one of these, 4-2 kind of games. That's how much I think Brentford will also be able to get at Newcastle because they've been doing that throughout the season. Again, they've got some fantastic XG numbers, most notably, again, in the first half. They rank actually fourth best in the Premier League in terms of first half results in their XG. So I like goals in this one. I expect them to be coming early and often. I like Newcastle, probably around 4-2 win is what I'm expecting here.
Yeah. I mean, that would, both teams are scoring over 2.5 cash. Last year, both teams are scoring Newcastle to win, cashed both home and away
Yeah.
last season. Yeah, I could only be in agreement here on goals. I think that this is a good goals game. I haven't gotten there yet just because Newcastle, I just need to see a little bit more of them. And, Brentford, yeah, Brentford have been really solid. I totally am in agreement with you here that like just stay away from the winners market and just bet goals. That's the only thing I like here. That's the only thing no losses and 8 straight for Brentford. 25 of 30 Brentford have not been beaten. Like I definitely would not be on Newcastle here, even though they won home and away last year. I would need to see more from them. They're in a weird kind of patch of form. Brentford, we know, are just really consistent. Yeah, both teams to score over or just a flat over 3 or over 2.75. That makes total sense to me.
Yeah, if something's going on with Newcastle, I mean, you're right, which is why I kind of just like goals. Sitting in 14th place, Botman, he's on the injury list, and obviously he's one of their fantastic center half. So that would kind of give you a little concern if all of a sudden you were holding on, to Newcastle. That's why, yeah, just absolutely, give me goals in this fixture, and I think you'll be entertained in that one right there. All right, Matt, Bournemouth and Chelsea. No weird times, man, where you're not just trying to get all their money out of your pocket and throw it at Chelsea, taking on a Bournemouth team here who is abysmal. But I have no confidence in Chelsea. Can't even beat Nottingham at home. Can't even score a goal against Forest at home. I still, and I think it dates back to our preview show where you said Chelsea is going to take time to identify and establish themselves in the season. You're seeing it. Chelsea's bad. I want no part of this, and I don't even have a bet for this one. I have no confidence in even picking Chelsea in this one, even from like a lean
I know.
standpoint.
I know. This is a funky one. I've stayed away. I think that I think that the international break came at a good time, you could say, for Chelsea, right? I mean, they're struggling, like leave and then come back, I mean, like they're in a weird period right now. But, the Romeo Lavia stuff, now he's injured. He hasn't played a minute. And they've been unlucky, with the Nkuku stuff. Reece James injured. There's so many key players for them. But then I also look at Bournemouth. I think back to the match against Spurs where we had both teams to score and over, and Bournemouth sucked.
They were
Like they're
bad.
not very good.
They
Um,
were so bad.
something tells me that Chelsea like ends up getting it together here and actually winning this one, but I would never bet it. I also think that goals are worthy. I don't trust Bournemouth enough, really. So yeah, it's a pass. Lean goals, lean Chelsea to squeak by here, but no real interest.
Their last 5 head-to-heads, Chelsea's only been able to win two of them, and now this is a struggling Chelsea side on the road here at Bournemouth. Yeah, weird times that they're taking on them, and you can't just back them. All right, about Everton taking on Arsenal. This is one where you know Arsenal's gonna get the win in this matchup, but it's gonna be cagey and it's gonna be low scoring. Remember, this was Sean Dyche's first fixture, when he took in charge of Everton, and it was a 1-0 result. I think that's what you're gonna get, pretty something similar. Everton doesn't have anything really much to punish anybody in this league. Their XG numbers are towards the bottom. They're already in the relegation fight. I thought they actually got relatively not lucky, but to get that draw there against Sheffield may have saved Sean Dyche and may be the reason why he's still going to be in the seat here against Arsenal. I like Arsenal here. They're just going to be too much for him.
I think so too. I'm surprised that they lost, in this fixture last year, and then Arsenal have lost 3 straight here at Goodison Park against Everton. But I'm going against it. I just think that like if you were to tell me these two teams play 10 times in a row, I don't even care where it is. Let's say 5 times at Arsenal, 5 times at Goodison. These two teams right here, I think that Arsenal wins that matchup 8 out of 10 times. I just think that they're so much better than Everton. I think it's still a good time to play Everton. I don't think they've figured anything out. They have injury concerns kind of everywhere. Um, I don't think that Lewin's not going to be back yet. Maybe he makes the bench here. I don't know. They have a lot of question marks. I think that Everton would have to be really fully fit to even want to be with them at all here. And I think this is another perfect opportunity to just get, just like the City one. I think that the City quality outshines West Ham in the end, but I think it's close. I think this match is the exact same kind of thing, like low scoring, and I think that the quality ends up making the difference late, probably. And yeah, Arsenal under 4.5 -120. What else is there to say?
No, I think that is exactly how that game's going to go ahead and unfold to a T. All right, Matt, let's get to Monday afternoon's action, which I'm excited for this matchup because we've talked about it and we've been able to cash bets, most notably Nottingham taking on Sheffield. We've talked about it when teams in the bottom hook up. Like, this is when you got to give it a go. You got to get 3 points. You're not going to do much against the top half of the league. And you saw it there with Nottingham, Sheffield, both teams scoring over 2.5. I'm not going to do the both teams to score. Just because the price of over 2.5 is nice at basically even money. They did hook up in the EFL Cup, but there was a pretty watered down lineup right there by Forest that day. I'm going to expect them to do what they've kind of done this season, right? They were bright against Arsenal in the home opener, good against Sheffield at home. They were good against Manchester United in a 5-goal thriller. I just said how they beat Chelsea at Stamford Bridge last time out. And then you look at Burnley and what they were able to do against City and what they were able to do against Tottenham last time out. I can only see goals in this one, an absolute cracker on a Monday afternoon.
I totally agree. I mean, look at just scrap the head to head that happened.
Right.
Just keep it out of your head right now, and let's go just back to the data. And there's been 4 matches for Forest in the league. 3 of those 4 have cashed over 2.5 goals. The one that didn't, they contributed and beat Chelsea on the road. And then Burnley. Well, I think there was 1 match that was suspended off for Burnley. So 3 matches in the league. All 3 have gone over 2.5. There's been one, 7 goals, 4 goals, and then 3. I totally agree. I think just flat over 2.5. Both teams have got to come out. I don't worry about Forest doing that at all at home. Like, I think that Forest will be up for it. They just need Burnley to contribute, and I think that, like you mentioned, like Company, and they know that this is kind of their moment to give it a go here. So. Yeah, over 2.5 looks pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, you said Burnley's cashed all 2.5 in all 3. Nottingham's 3 of 1. Burnley at 4.7 goals per match is leading the way in the Premier League of goals in their matches, and they're contributing, right? They've scored in 2 of their 3 matches. So maybe don't add on both teams to score in case Forest is really, really up for it at home on a Monday night, because you're getting about plus money or even money, on over 2.5. But I do think both of them will contribute if you want to go for a little bit of a higher price. Let's throw our bets up here on the screen, Matt, and then we got to talk a little bit of a parlay. I'm going to roll with 5 bets this weekend, and you're going to roll with 4. I'm going to roll with that Villa team total, Fulham team total, over 2.5 in Monday afternoon's game between Forest and Burnley. I think there's goals. I hear you on the under between United and Brighton, but I always love what I see with Brighton. Just so damn enjoyable to watch. They're scoring goals, and United will get one at home, so that'll go over. I'm going to tack on Arsenal double chance just to bring down some juice. They only beat them because that was the first game. We talked about that. Like, that was so damn predictable that Sean Dice would do something in that first game back in charge. And then I'll take another team total parlay with Liverpool and Tottenham.
Yeah. Yeah, 2 home teams for me, 2 road sides. Yeah, I think that Wolves just coming off the break. I think that they step up in class going up against a good team, kind of like they played United really tough early in the season. Like, you're looking for performance kind of like that to be able to cover this handicap.
They do
Yeah, I
that.
think
They'll
City
cover. They were way better that day. Way better.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, you can just get something like that where Neto is, being difficult to play up against Robertson on the wings. They can create enough to score. City scrape it. Arsenal scrape it, and then it's just more. It's not even really a bet on Fulham. It's more of just a fade of Luton.
They've been so bad. So they've really looked terrible. All right, we like to give you guys a parlay every single week. We call it Between the Post Parlay. So let's go ahead and jump onto that and see what we're going to do. Normally, I would tell you whose leg is whose leg, but I think once you throw it up on the screen, you'll know whose leg is whose leg. So there we go. We'll get Wolves to somehow hang, or not somehow. I mean, it's what the hell they've been doing, so we don't need to say somehow. That was not the right word. Wolves is going to hang with Liverpool, and there's going to be goals in Newcastle, Brentford, and it's going to come very, very early. So it's pricey at minus 150, but sometimes you got to pay for a winning bet, and that's what we'll do. We'll get that one in. All right, Matt.
Yep.
Match week number 5 in the Premier League. Looking forward to watching these games this week and getting back some normalcy on my weekends with Premier League back in action. Thanks, Matt, and we'll catch you back here next week, man.
Yeah, excited for Premier League to roll right in on Sunday to some NFL. I mean, there's not much better than that. So, yeah, no, excited. Let's win a couple bets here this weekend.
All right, guys. Thank you for hanging out with us, and we'll catch you guys next Thursday.